All right. Hi, everybody. My name's Chloe. I'm with BRIC Foundation. We have a great panel for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining this one. So we have four people that I'll have kind of different experiences related to film festivals. So we are looking forward to you guys joining this and looking forward to our panelists giving you guys some great advice.
Good morning, everybody. Chloe, thank you so much for the introduction. Everybody, I'm Nidin Patel. I will be one of the panelists and also moderator, so I'm going to be doing a double duty. I'll start with my introduction and I'll let all the panelists introduce themselves, and then we'll start with the questions. I am an educator, film educator, and a filmmaker. I teach at Cal State LA, mainly film production courses, and I also produce, direct as a freelancer in the industry. I've been associated with the film festival circuit for quite a while. I have worked with many different festivals, predominantly in the programming department. Currently, I'm on the screening committee of New Filmmakers LA, which is a fantastic LA-based film festival. I'm sure I will get a chance to talk more about that throughout the panel. The various other festivals, like, which are different themes. I've been in programming department, projection teams, on jury, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm excited to be here and talk all about film festivals and how to maximize your experiences at different film festivals. Gray, I'll come to you next.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Gray Rodriguez. I am the Director of Communications for Film Festival Alliance. We are a nonprofit that's dedicated to connecting film festivals with one another around North America and the UK. We're made up of about 230 festivals in total, and that ranges from small first-time festivals to the larger, more top-of-mind festivals like Sundance and Seattle. Personally, I've been in the industry for about 15 years, starting as a volunteer and then kind of working my way up the ranks through various contracting roles and full-time roles with festivals like Bentonville, Tallgrass Film Festival, Sundance, and then eventually leading to Film Festival Alliance, where I work full-time. And yeah, I'm very excited to talk about just the benefits of film festivals and how to make the most of your experience. Thank you. Melissa?
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Vitello. I am a filmmaker, producer, writer, screenwriter, and director. I've been in the independent film industry for about 14, 15 years probably. So I have produced 11 feature films. 5 of those I directed. I was the head of production for a short film content studio for a long time and oversaw about 100 short films from conception to delivery. I recently directed a feature film that wrapped in October. It's called Regression, and that's in post-production. I've been featured in a lot of film festivals. The most recent ones have been Slamdance, the Austin Film Festival, Film Quest, Mammoth Lakes, Genre Blast, Dances with Films, Pasadena, which I'm joining again this year, Austin Revolution, World Fest, and NoHo Cinefest. So I've had a lot of experience just meeting a lot of film festival directors and building relationships and utilizing those relationships. So I'm really excited to dive in and talk about that today and see how my experience can help you guys out.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jared Corwin. I am a writer and producer. Been working in the industry for about 10 years now or so. My background mostly in live action, but more so recently over the past few years have been shifting more into animation writing, and animation production. I run Silver Lake Shorts, which is a Los Angeles-based 501c3 slash monthly screening series. Our festival is always free to submit. It's always free to attend. We've been partnering with different industry partners for sponsorships to keep things free for everybody. Actually, last night just did a partnership screening at Sony Pictures Animation, which was a lot of fun. And we have a independent fellowship program. So last year we were able to award 5 different filmmakers $5,000 to make a short film, 1 to 5 minutes, that they have full agency and ownership over. It's very kind of community focused, ground up approach to getting people's work out there and supporting the arts in LA. Yeah, really excited to be here. Love film festivals, love independent filmmaking, and excited to offer any advice or help I can.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. I want to start by thanking everybody who is listening to the panel right now. Thank you for sparing your Saturday morning to talk with us. And then if you're watching this later on at some point on YouTube, thank you for being there. And I hope this is going to be a very helpful panel for all of you. This is a great diverse group of people with diverse experiences. So I'm sure that everybody, no matter what your experience is, what level you are in, you're going to have something substantial to take away at the end of the panel. I'm going to start with a very simple question. What are some of your, or like, first memory of a film festival, or some of the best memory of the film festival? And I'll start with me. Many years ago, one of the first film festivals that I came from India to get my MFA in the US. And the first film festival that I got to attend was Sundance. I went there on a scholarship. It was everything that I was promised that it was going to be. It was such a warm, exciting, amazing community of people. And I wasn't even showing anything, but I felt like, I was being received by the community, and, it felt like we were all there to celebrate one another. And it was such a great introduction to the film festival and the potential and the power. Obviously, Sundance is at the peak. It's one of the top five. So it's a whole different level of, commitment and experience to filmmakers. But since then, even with like, a very tiny film festival to, grassroots film festivals, which are started by an individual, when if the festival has the right, well, festival has their heart in the right place, if the commitment is where, Sundance has its commitment at a high level, they're able to still do the same thing and achieve the same experiences for filmmakers. So that is when I think of film festivals and my first memories of film festivals, that's one of the things that come to mind. Okay, anybody, any film festival memories that you want to share?
I have one that is Sundance related, but starts earlier than that. And as I mentioned, I started out at, maybe I didn't, but at the Tallgrass Film Festival, which is in Wichita, Kansas, not really known as a mecca for film, but I was there volunteering and then later went to work in artist relations at Sundance. And for me, it was amazing to see some of the Tallgrass alumni come through the artist relations office and be like, wow, this is such a huge industry, but it's also so small in ways. And that kind of started my understanding of how valuable that alumni network is for film festivals and for going to those regional festivals and then being amazed by how many people you see on the circuit that you'll see at these larger, more top of mind festivals. And so, yeah, just seeing some of our alumni there and then being able to network at Sundance was really cool because it helped me gain opportunities at other festivals and recognize people throughout the circuit that I'd met on these smaller levels. And I just thought that was so cool to kind of show how valuable and connected the industry can be if you're paying attention to those smaller circuit festivals. And yeah, it's just fun to trace some of the journeys of regional filmmakers and then see them later at Sundance. And so I guess I'm kind of like, this isn't one memory, but just one impression from my experience going from one to one is just, wow, like even the people behind it who I interface with a lot at Film Festival Alliance, like the people running the ticketing or the people doing artist relations at a regional festival, they're kind of sharing the staff as well. So it's nice to see like the smallness, I guess, of something that seems so large.
Melissa, Jared?
Yeah, definitely. I think a really great memory, maybe a little bit more recently, actually. So I've, in the last few years, definitely found my voice and just my world as a filmmaker in horror filmmaking. And my husband and I got a script into FilmQuest about 4 or 5 years ago, which is a horror sci-fi fantasy film festival out in Provo, Utah. And we went out there and it was such an incredible experience. Like the film festival directors make such a point to get to know the filmmakers, and it felt like summer camp for filmmakers. Like they really created this experience where it felt like we were this special family unit in this place, and we were all there to celebrate horror, and we all loved the same thing. And they created networking events that were specifically designed to make everyone come forward and be able to share, like, who are you? What are you doing? What are you doing next? And what do you need? And how can we help you find each other and maybe like place you in groups of people that can help each other out? It just felt so intentional. And I just found such a family there, and it was such a great experience. And we make a point to try to make something or write something or do anything that can get into that festival every year. We go almost every year because it is such a family. So that was an incredible experience. And for me, like I think I really learned the value of like finding your festival and your voice and where you're going to thrive the most and meet the people who are going to help you thrive the most.
Yeah, so well said, Jared.
Yeah, a really incredible experience for me was in 2018 when my sci-fi short Time Enforcer got into a Fantastic Fest in Austin. Fantastic Fest is just a tremendous, very genre-specific festival, and for me and my creative partner in that, and a bunch of our friends in the crew, I literally turned 25. I had my 25th birthday at that festival, and it was just tremendous. I mean, because we had screened a couple other festivals that were maybe more like, I'd say, industry specific and kind of had a little bit more of that sort of like kind of industry panaz to it. And those are wonderful too. Those are great. They have their value. But I think Fantastic Fest to me felt like such just a mecca of creativity and like a mecca of film lovers and especially genre filmmakers. And it was just fun. I mean, they had like Tenacious D played, and like they had just like they took us all out for barbecue, and like just some of like so many of the films were just like mind blowing, and the like just the parties. Everyone was just like such a film nerd and such a film fan, and like just really like niche like idiosyncratic events. Like they had this thing called like film fights or whatever, where it's like a film debate in a boxing match where like they would ask like a really like esoteric question about like like filmmaking and like film auteurs, and then like the two people debating would just like box each other and like not actually like have any sort of like intellectual conversation about it. Like it was really fun. And I remember
I love that.
yeah, it was super fun. I remember like me and my creative partner Jimmy Nickerson, who I writing and directing team, and I wrote the short, and we had a feature that we were like have just been we're like building for so long and like ready to like kind of take the next step on. I remember like being in the pool at our Airbnb in Austin and just being like feeling like filmmakers being like, let's make our feature, like let's quit our jobs, let's make our feature, let's like we're gonna quit our jobs, we gotta find a micro budget, let's make our feature. And honestly we did after that. So it felt like yeah, just I like that experience was really, and it's
That's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I also like how everybody's echoing, one of the main objectives of going to a film festival, which is to build a sense of family, sense of community that
yeah,
is hopefully going to. And I'm sure that we are going to come back to this again in our later questions, because that's one of the things that I really want to emphasize for the listeners, that the aspect of community and the family, and then that care that you receive, which only propels you even higher in your creative game. So let's address something which maybe a lot of people in the audience might be wondering. I know that my students come and ask me a Castadele once in a while. Is in the age of social media, where you can just post your film on YouTube and get million views if it's a great work within a week. People are being scouted and getting representation on Vimeo, YouTube, through their social media. Are film festivals even relevant? What are our thoughts on why film festival circuit still continues to thrive? Literally hundreds and hundreds of new festivals, keep springing up every single year. So for a young filmmaker who is just starting out, why film festivals are still relevant, and why should they still pay attention to the importance of this amazing community? I know, Melissa, you are probably one of us with the most expansive experience as a filmmaker going through the festival circuits, and I know even with a first-hand experience of working with you on an amazing project, you have been through lots and lots of film festivals and have received many awards. So why do you think a young filmmaker should still not, diminish the importance of film festival in their beginning journey?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think there it's definitely a good point of like, yes, there is a lot going up on there. Like you can put a lot on YouTube, you can get a bunch of views. There's a lot of content out on the internet. But to that point, there's a lot of content out on the internet. And it's very easy to drown in the amount of content that is out there right now. I think if you really want to push towards being a successful filmmaker, like one of the most important things is to be known, is to know everybody and make sure that everybody knows you. Like building those relationships, that face-to-face time is extremely important, especially in this time when it is so easy to pick up your phone and make something and put it out there. But depending on what you want to do with your filmmaking career, like if you really want to excel, you have to be loud and you have to be out there and you have to be meeting people, and that's still so important. And film festivals are one of the best ways to go and meet people, especially, the more specific you get, and I know we'll get more into that specificity, but when you find the festival that is that niche festival that caters towards your genre, when you're building those relationships with those specific people. With film festival directors, I've been back to film festivals several times, like specific festivals, because the directors know me and really like me and like my work, and I've won awards there. And anytime I submit, they're like, "Oh yeah, Melissa, come back."
Yeah.
And every time
I mean, once you get into a film festival, and then, having worked on the programming side, I know that they fondly curate the list of film festivals that they have celebrated. They have mentored people who have, like, screened their first films at the festivals, and they want to champion those voices. So as you're saying that,
Exactly.
you get at a film festival, often you end up getting this lifelong champion.
Exactly. And they will help you any way they can. And I've had many festival directors be able to point me in the direction, I can go back to those people anytime and say, "Hey, I've got this film. I'm trying to like get an introduction here or there." And anytime they're able to, they will. And same with people that you meet at festivals. You never know who you're going to meet at a film festival who's there with their first short and then a year later blows up. And that's a person you have a connection with. And you're able to reach out to, and you have that camaraderie and that, alumni experience together at these festivals. So I think festivals are incredibly important if you are really serious about building relationships in the industry.
Great, Jared. Anything you want to add to the
Yeah.
relevance of film festivals in 2025?
Yeah, I would say also something that I always tell filmmakers about is that, these festivals have staffs, and oftentimes they have a marketing person, and their goal is also to fill the theater. And so you have a common goal built in when you're going to that festival. You are both trying to get people to see your film. And so I think that's a very valuable thing to think about and consider, is that
Such a good
if you
point.
work with them, yeah, if you're working with them, the more you can give them and the more you can interact with them, they're going to want you to succeed on that front as well, just getting people to see your film. And so it's a really great audience building tool, because you are going to hopefully several festivals where several marketing directors and programming teams are trying to sell tickets to fill the theater. So I think that's something to just think about on a business side. And then to Melissa's point about who you meet, I always tell people when they're researching to also examine who the jurors that they invite are, because maybe you won't get to meet everyone, but if your film's in competition, someone important, whatever that means, might watch your film, and that's a great way to build relationship, reach out to them, and just continue to start building that network. So those are just some things I think are invaluable about film festivals and really help them stand out too, just putting something online.
Thank you. Those are all great perspectives. Jared, anything you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we at Civillic Shorts, we screen a lot of, I mean, we're all younger filmmakers. Everyone's putting stuff online. Everyone's putting stuff online at all ages, at all experiences. And obviously, but there's a difference between content and films. And I think that even things that do feel very internet-y, or feel like it's more of a sketch, or feel like it's more of like kind of like a moment that lives on like an Instagram reel or lives on like a TikTok reel, it's like there is value to submitting those to festivals, because there's nothing quite like, you can get all these dopamine tone and bumps from seeing, oh, here's a new like, here's a new comment, here's a new like, here's a new comment, up to like millions and millions. But like, sorry, it's so different when you actually have people in the audience there watching and laughing and experiencing, interacting with it. And it makes such a big difference. I mean, it's the difference of being kind of solitary from your work and just experiencing it from the viewpoint of just your phone screen or your YouTube app on your smart TV, versus actually being with people and feeling that energy, and meant to be
so right.
collectively. And I always, even with stuff like Shorts, like I always kind of think about this. It's like, look, when like a part of humanity is art, and a part of that is community resolving, like surrounding art. And, from the, people in caves, like telling little stories with fire, it's like, we're meant to be all together, and we're meant to interact with it together. And like, that's why, especially even thinking like from the animation side, which a lot of our community is from the animation side, like people like Matt Groening and Seth MacFarlane and Mike Judge. Like they started by screening shorts at these
Oh,
really
so many. The
niche
list is endless.
destinations.
Yeah.
And we really strive to be that with Silver Lake Shorts, and that place where like you can kind of get discovered by these industry people, or just really loving community people. And like when you put kind of community first, which so many festivals do, especially regional festivals, especially genre festivals, that's where you kind of built a support system and a system of champions surrounding your work. And like you can find fan bases online, and they're there, and you should obviously I would encourage everybody to put their work online. It's important to do that too, but don't neglect festivals because and don't neglect regular screenings, because it's like that's going to be where you actually find some more substance and honestly more validation.
Yeah,
From a
you're
personal
all highlighting such distinct points, which again, and I'm so glad that Jared, you said that, do not also undermine the importance of being online, because that's also like, again, we're in 2025. That also is so essential, having a website, having your, putting it out on Instagram, having like all the online connections. That's also very important. But I like that there are so many distinct features which make film festivals so relevant to, whatever level you are. If you're just starting out, you have been around for a long time, festivals still remain one of the most relevant, experiences in a filmmaker's journey. So, that brings us to our next question. So let's say I made a film. There is a filmmaker made a film, and then they know that they want to go to film festival circuit. How to strategize, how to find, there are literally, like, if you go on Film Freeway, there are, last I checked, I think there are like, over 13,000-14,000, which that number feels so mind-boggling. 13,000-14,000 film festivals just on Film Freeway, which is the big platform, which I'm sure everybody who is listening on this webinar, if you did not know, that's the main platform, Film Freeway, where everybody submits to and finds film festivals. And there are many other platforms as well. But how would you strategize? When do you start as well? Like, do you start at the pre-production stage when you're planning your film, or do you start thinking about film festivals when you finish the film and you are thinking about distribution? So how to strategize putting your film into film festivals, how to find the right ones as well. Whoever wants to start.
I can jump in first about like when to start thinking about it. I am not a filmmaker. However, when I do speak to them, and you all, I always suggest starting in pre-production and start thinking about what you want to do with this film. And that will really help you budget for those submission fees, but also budgeting for travel to the festivals, because you hear us all talk about how important it is to be there. So making sure that you can afford to send at least your director, a producer, maybe the talent, whoever you feel is most important to be there representing your film. I think that really adds to it. And then for the research component, certainly Film Freeway is great. It is very overloaded. I know they have been working on kind of eliminating some of the scam festivals that are out there. They're actually working with us a little bit on that. But one thing that the Film Festival Alliance has been working on for the last 5 years are these best practices and standards for film festivals to just help filmmakers have a little bit more transparency when they're looking at where to submit. And so I'm going to drop a link into the chat of our directory. It's a searchable directory of our membership, and some of the information that we ask them that maybe you wouldn't find easily on Film Freeway is more about if they cover your travel, if they offer stipends, if there are cash awards, just some of those things that you might not be thinking about top of mind, and really helping you make a decision as you navigate. And then I'll let the filmmakers answer on how they are looking for festivals.
Yeah, I would definitely add, I think what Gray's saying, starting in pre-production, definitely, but also then thinking about what you want to get out of a film festival, is really important. So are you going because you want to build a network? Are you going because you want to get press? Are you going because, and as a young new filmmaker, the exciting thing to think about is like everybody wants their film to go to Sundance, Tribeca, TIFF, like that's where your brain is going to be at immediately. Mine, and the first feature I made, I was like, I'm definitely going to Sundance. And that was, I think it's really important to know, like, there's so many great film festivals out there that can help you. And it's narrowing down the right ones for you and knowing like what festivals play a lot of the same kind of genre that you're making? What festivals really get excited about those genres? Where are you going to meet like-minded filmmakers who are going to be able to help you in your career or, direct you in the right place? What kind of film festival directors and producers and people who are going to come and watch those movies are going to be interested in your film? Like if you go and play a rom-com at a horror film festival, it's probably not going to help you very much. And they're probably not going to accept your film anyway. So be careful about where you're submitting and really do your research on the right kinds of festivals and where you want to be and exactly what you want to be getting out of it. Start building those relationships ahead of time. If you can find some of those film festival directors on LinkedIn and reach out and say, hey, I'm working on this project. I'd love to be in your festival, and just try what you can to build those relationships ahead of time is, I think, great and really important. So yeah, I think that's the important thing. And another thing I would think about too is, I always, when we're working on a film or I'm looking at film festivals, I do also think about the premiere because, not all, but a lot of film festivals will want your world premiere, and some of them won't take, especially your feature film, if they don't get your world premiere. So you also have to think about, well, when do these look at the timelines of the film festivals and when they're going to be accepting films and when you're going to have to say yes to a festival over another festival, because you may have to make a decision. And it can be hard spending a lot of money and then you have to say no to a festival you really want to go to because you have to premiere at this other festival and this other festival is not going to take your film anymore.
So true. Yeah,
So
Jared.
it's really important to look at those dates and look at their their premiere status. And then where you really want to go, it really helps you narrow down, like, where am I going to submit and where do I really want to go, and line up those acceptance dates as you start submitting to festivals. So it's important to look at those kinds of things. But yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, Jared.
Okay, now I'm not muted. Look, I spent way too much money on film festival submissions. My feature. I think I was taking on sort of like, hey, the more places you submit, the better chance you have. And honestly, I do kind of regret that approach because, you waste money, honestly. I mean, I think you really need to, in many ways, sometimes treat it like, remember college applications? I mean, you had your easy access, your target, and then you had your reach. I think break things up into that mindset, and also submit to free festivals. Like they're worthwhile. Like honestly, ours is free. A lot of that ethos being around how much money I felt like I wasted submitting to festivals. Obviously, but look, not every festival operates all the same ways. Like a lot do rely on submission fees. So you just have to like pick the right ones. And also, I would say start your own, but like go to a bar and see, hey, like I want to put a little screen together of like friends in my community, and they might be down. Like they might even, maybe they'll be like, oh, okay, just make sure they buy like at least a drink or two, or they might be like, hey, like, okay, we don't really get a lot of people here on like a Tuesday night. Sure, like put your films up on our screen. Like I think so much of it is about like kind of building a community around you, and I think kind of just figuring out what works. And I think I totally believe in what Melissa said about take a chance, reach out to people on LinkedIn, reach out to other filmmakers who got on the festival that you like, see if they have any feedback, or maybe they can even like a good word. Like, look, I think so much of the issue artists face is like they don't want to feel like they're being annoying. They like are kind of bashful about putting themselves out there. But like being a filmmaker is you have to put yourself out there. So, the worst anyone can tell you is no, or not respond. Like, you never know what someone would respond. You never know how someone's gonna respond to your work, or an email, or a link. So yeah, I'd say and yeah.
All such great points. And like, I will emphasize on some of the most important things that we have heard and add a couple of things. One of the biggest things that I tell my students is have a very, very clear intention, because, that is one of the things that, you don't think about. You don't think about what's your exact main primary objective for going through the film festival circuit. Are you building community? Are you looking for your next gig? Are you looking for representation? Do you want to sell your film? There are there are tens of different good things that can happen, but you need to have a very clear objective because that's going to inform the process, that's going to inform the choices. As you know, Melissa said, I'm also guilty of that you make one of your first films and you're like, of course, this is going to go to Sundance. It's very likely, and again, I'm not being pessimistic, but it's very likely that it may not go to Sundance because that festival is looking very different level of production value. They're looking for different themes. So think about what festivals would serve you best at what level you are. If you're a young filmmaker, I really, really want to emphasize on the objective of building community. So if you are starting out, if you are at the beginning stage of your career, your main primary objective is to build a community where you can get your collaborators and maybe people who are going to start paying your bills as a freelancer. So that can happen at any good and independent film festival. Amazing work that Jared is doing at his festival that he's built up from ground up. Small festivals, independent film festivals can give you the exact same thing, community opportunities. I'm so glad that Gray also mentioned the budgeting because that's also, I've been guilty of that in the past. I've joined projects, at a later stage where they forgot to budget for film festivals. Particularly post-COVID, the entry fees have gone up a lot. So, the basic, the median entry fees are between 25 to 50. So, you are going to be spending, if you are submitting to even 10 film festivals, the money really rakes up. So think about what are the affordable ones, the free ones, which are still going to give you something substantial, and then budget for them from the very beginning. And then research, like Melissa is saying, think about what are the festivals that you want to go to. So maybe start connecting with people on LinkedIn, on their websites, like give them a heads up that you're working on this project that you would love for them to screen ultimately. So starting early, budgeting, having a very, very clear intention, all those things would really, really help you. And, understand that the more you strategize, it's not going to, like, if you finish the film, the distribution starts, and that's when the first time you're starting about film festivals, it's going to be very overwhelming. Because as we all mentioned, there are thousands, like literally thousands of festivals out there. Many of them are scam film festivals. So research, that's another word that we all mentioned, that research. One of the easiest way to research a festival is to go online and see if they have a proper website, if they have, proper social media presence, read the comments that, that's big resource that Film Freeway offers is you can read audience experiences, filmmaker experiences, filmmakers who have been screening at those festivals write about it. I'm very proud that, New Filmmakers LA, which is the festival that I work with, they're top 10. So, they're top 10 on Film Freeway for the audience ratings. So you can go and read those hundreds of comments and that, all those people, they write with their names, they're legit, they're filmmakers. You can look them up on Film Freeway as well. So that will also, give you confidence that you are going to the right places. So read the reviews, read about the festivals, and make sure that you're not going to a film festival just because they're more affordable, because maybe they'll take away that $15 and it probably will not be a good experience at all. So strategize through research. So let's say, going into our next question, let's say hopefully everybody who is listening and want to get into a film festival, they get into a film festival. So amazing, congratulations to you. What do you do next? How do you maximize once you get into the film festival? What are the things that you should be doing? How can we maximize our filmmaker experience at a film festival? Jared, do you want to start this time?
To maximize your experience at a film festival, invite your friends. Seriously, invite your friends, invite your community, reach out to the other filmmakers, ask to get drinks, ask to get coffee. I mean, festivals are there to be a place to build community and to bring your community in. With our festival, we always ask every person who gets in, hey, can you be there the day of the festival, or the night of the festival rather? If not, please let us know. We'll save your film for a later month, because we want filmmakers to be there. That's because that is just what the purpose of a festival is. It's a place where people connect. It's a place where people get together. So I think, obviously, like on the animation side, it's funny because like many people are more introverted, but I mean, use that opportunity to know that, like, hey, all these people are there because they are into the similar shit you're into. So ask them what their favorite anime is. Like, ask them like what weird a software they use or whatever. Like, I think those opportunities are there laid out for people to kind of like, take up on. So yeah, like just don't be shy and like make sure you're building upon your community within that experience.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Melissa?
I agree. Same, like reach out to the people who are going, look at all the films that are going to be playing there, reach out to the filmmakers, look for the films that are similar in the similar genre as yours and the people who look like they're kind of in the same tone of the kind of stuff you're into and reach out to them. I'm always very diligent about, and I'm sure Jared and Gray, you guys will probably agree with this, but like I will make sure to read every email the film festival directors will send out and follow all instructions as soon as possible and get back to them and make a point of being like, just respond, be like, yeah, I'm so excited to come. Like every once in a while, write them back. Like that's how they get to know you. Like when you're the filmmaker that is being responsive, when you're the one who is interacting, when you're the one who's following all the guidelines and listening and actually showing up and doing the things you're supposed to be doing, you stand out. Like those are the people that stand out, and you build the relationships with the directors and with the people who, the volunteers and the people who are helping run festivals. Yeah, and then looking at all of the events that festivals might have, like when are the mixers happening? When are there panels that are happening? Plan out where you want to be and where you want to go. Is there a film happening that you want to hit, and then right afterwards, maybe there's a panel that you want to go to, or if there's a panel playing during a movie you want to see, like plan that all out. It's a vacation. You have to have your itinerary all ready to go,
So true.
and figure out where you're going to go, where you're going to spend time meeting people, and that's going to be a lot of energy too, and where you're going to spend time going and supporting other people's films. And that's really important too. Like support other filmmakers' films. They all need an audience. Like you can bring all your friends and your friends will support you. But you also need the support of your other filmmakers, and you need to be inviting other people to your films as well. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. I love what Melissa said, that support, that's one of the things we often undermine is you're there to sell yourself, but then you also forget that, oh, that amazing people that you're connecting with, their film is also there. They also want to fill the seat. So go and like, sit in their films, which is so valuable. That's so well said,
And you
Melissa.
have a festival pass, you can go see everything.
Exactly. You're right. When you're a filmmaker, you get all access most of the time. Yeah,
Be the
great.
person with the biggest
Um,
reactions in the screening. Be the person with the loudest laugh. Be the person with the biggest. They will appreciate that. Like you
Yeah,
appreciate response to your film, so you should be that person who, I mean, don't overdo it to a ridiculous degree, but like like
yeah.
lead with that sense of earnestness plus in terms of your response to their films.
Encouragement for sure. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I love, Melissa, what you said about responding to the emails, reading them all. That actually doesn't happen too often. I mean, and you don't want to be remembered for the wrong reason. So I think it's really great, the idea of thanking them for the acceptance. When you send out those rejections as a festival, you are getting pummeled with, angry filmmakers as well who are disappointed to not get in. So it's always great to get something like a thank you. Even if you don't get in, if you're rejected, it's great to send a thank you. It goes far. And then I love what both of you said of just about making as many connections as possible. One thing I always encourage short filmmakers, if they're in a block, like a comedy block, it's again taking advantage of the programmer's eye and knowing that you've been curated together for a reason. So these are likely people that you would want to work with and meet because your films are working in a flow together. So thinking about that as your little team. And if no one's leading that charge, being that leader of, hey, let's all get together and talk about our films. Let's become pals
Yeah,
because these are future collaborators. So, and then
that's
also just remembering that you're now an alumni of that festival, you're an advocate for them. And so if you can stand out in the right ways and become a good advocate for them, they'll likely invite you back as a juror maybe, or, certainly they'll remember you long term and even recommend you to their programmer friends who they likely know on the circuit. So it's just a
yeah.
great relationship building tool.
So true. Like again, what you were saying, Gray, like, I tell that to my students is like, if you are that introvert who doesn't like going to people, then find a hyper buddy and, pay for their pass and, bring them to the festival or find that hyper, like, the person who is outgoing from your team who is already invited to the festival because you want everybody to know that your film is there. You want to, I want to clarify that going to film festival will require a lot of energy, just like making movies require a lot of energy. So if you're not ready to, what Melissa said, it's like going to a vacation, plan your itinerary, look at the panels that are being offered, look at other films that are playing, and then really like, conserve your energy 2 days before, and then once the festival starts, like give it all for those 2, 3 days. Like if you are not at the end of the day, if you come home and you're not completely exhausted, maybe you didn't do it well. So, conserve the energy, talk to everybody, talk to the programmers, right? You are only chatting with those people online. So often, if this is your first time at a film festival, the only relationship you have with these people is through email or through, whatever social media chat that you have done. So give them like, some FaceTime, go say thank you, like, appreciate that your film got invited. So they remember your face, they, appreciate your time as well. And then hopefully next time when you submit, your chances are higher. At New Filmmakers LA, film festivals, or for filmmakers, the experience is festival happens for one day. So for the audience, it's 1 day experience, but for filmmakers, it's a 7 day experience almost, because they plan we plan very, very intentionally. We plan networking events, panels, even training sessions for these filmmakers based on the cohort of filmmakers that particular month. It's a monthly festival, and then usually every month there is an in focus series. So there is a theme for most of these festivals. So based on what filmmakers have been chosen, we curate an experience, and I see that often filmmakers don't take full advantage of that week before. For festivals like this, that is even more important to you than just sitting in the theater and watching your movie with the audiences. So going back to what we said earlier, is that having a clear objective, what is my objective, and then figuring out your strategy at the film festival based on, am I here to build community? Do I want, like, at least 15 people to know that, hey, I was the cinematographer for that film. So if you're looking for your cinematographer, here's my card. So having that conversation, not just as filmmaker, not just directors, writers, whatever role, like, if you were a GNE on a film and it got into a film festival, it's your responsibility to yourself to show up, because you want your next GNE gig lined up. So that will happen at a film festival. So maximize what, we keep coming back to relationship building, because that's what the best thing that the film festivals offer. Melissa also mentioned earlier that many festivals prioritize when films have their premiere at their film festivals, and many festivals, you are more likely to, one of the tips for all the audience, you're more likely to get into a film festival which is local, because they know that you're going to come and attend with your team. So often when they accept you, they're hoping that you're going to come, you're going to bring your team as well. So when you do that, they feel doubly grateful that now your film is playing, but you also brought people, you are filling in the seats. So, you are also, that way you're also leaving a better impression on all the programmers and people who are putting together a film festival. So make the most of it and plan how are you going to maximize all the opportunities that the festival is giving you, because many festivals will give you a lot more, like I said, at New Filmmakers LA, just than that screening. There are trainings, there are opportunities to have conversations with professionals. So there's a lot that you can do. I'm looking at the chats. We want to make sure that if there are any questions, like, we'll spend time with that as well. Please make sure, like, if you are an audience, look at the chats, copy, if there are any links being shared. We'll also share the links to our film festivals there as well. I know that there is somebody moderating the chat. Should we pause for a question? Are there any questions that we can pause for? We have more. I'm looking at the Q&A. Here is a good question. What makes a scam film festival, especially if they're free? Would there be a detriment to that?
One thing I would look for with scam festivals is, do they say they're going to be premiering online? That's usually kind of a red flag for me. Like, there's definitely good online festivals, but I would take a pause and see, like, how long have they been running? Again, I think Jared mentioned, do they have a website? Do they have a social media presence? Are there other filmmakers that have submitted to this festival and actually premiered at this festival that you could reach out to and talk to? How long have they been going on? And I would also be careful with festivals that do premiere online or may take your film and put it online without telling you, because that could also really hurt your chances with other festivals. Most of the time, a lot of festivals don't want to play your film if you are playing somewhere public and online, because it reduces the chances of other people coming to their festival to see the film there. So you have to be really careful with that, because I have also run into festivals that will just put your film online and not tell you that they're doing that. And that's usually a very young festival or a festival that isn't very organized or a scam festival. So those are the things that I usually look out for.
Are they asking for your social security number or
Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, just any online, any festival should have some sort of like proof that they exist, and should have some sort of, even a decent localized social media presence is worthwhile. Like, you just, at the end of the day, especially free ones you're paying for, it's like you would just want to make sure it's worth your time, and you want to make sure you're doing the research that this is a good festival for you.
Yeah. Um, Other person is asking that we mentioned like regional festivals. So what are different types of festivals? I mean, the festival is a festival, like, where people get together and watch a film that has been submitted by generally independent filmmakers. So basically, it's just when we mean regional film festival, we just mean that festivals which are in wherever you are. So wherever you are tuning in from, film festivals that you can drive to, which are in your neighborhood, in your city, maybe neighboring cities. So that would make it a regional film festival. Regional film festivals also target, so they predominantly focus on championing voices which are in their city or in their. So if there's a Texas-based film festival, they will, predominantly program or only exclusively program a film from Texas or a Texan filmmaker. So that makes it a regional film festival. And then there are mid-tier film festivals, and then there are top-tier film festivals, and there are, like, the big five, which are, Sundance and Venice and Cannes and all those.
Yeah, I would also say, like, be on the lookout. Do your research, and like, be on the lookout for new emerging festivals. I mean, there's this festival in Baltimore that's starting to get bigger called New Next Fest, and it's kind of fundamentally, I think it started more so as a Baltimore festival, but like I'm starting to see, some friends and people in the community who screen with us. It's a really short screen there, and these are the same people who are screening at like Slam Dance or like TIFF or South by Southwest, and these other types of festivals. So yeah, like, definitely shoot for the moon with the festivals that you really want to get into, but also be aware and be open to that there are new festivals that are emerging. And I honestly follow filmmakers you like, follow
Yeah.
filmmakers you enjoy, look through places that the festivals you want to get into, festivals you admire, like the Slam Dances, like the TIFFs, et cetera, like the Fantastic Fests, or horror festivals or Silver Lake Shorts, and see, hey, like, what are these like, follow these filmmakers and see where they're screening their work, and that's just such a great natural way to like learn more and become more aware of things.
That's
Are
really
there other small organic, sorry, Melissa, are there other small, I'm looking at time, and then, Jared is already starting us on that. And I'll start with you, Melissa, so you can finish your thought. But are there any other small, like, regional or like, community-based film festivals that you want to mention which would benefit filmmakers? Melissa, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, some great festivals in Los Angeles that I've been at several times. NoHo Cinefest is an incredible festival. Gustavo puts on a great festival. They will really treat you well. There's lots of events. Pasadena International Film Festival, which I have a short in this year. It's playing in the next couple of weeks. They're amazing. Marco and Jessica are the directors there, and they also just love their filmmakers. They put on really great filmmaker mixers and move all around the city and utilize a lot of spaces. Those are the two big ones that really come to mind. There's also some really good ones like in the area. Newport Beach is a really good one. Dances with Films is also a really good one. Those are a little bit harder to get into, but really good to keep your eye on because they put on great festivals and really big mixers, like really good opportunities for meeting people.
Yeah. Great. Or
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just point again, I'm sure they'll share it again. The directory that I had shared is a really great aggregate of festivals throughout the entire country, but just to shout out a couple that aren't necessarily genre focused, but that do a lot of great work for filmmakers would be Cleveland International, Milwaukee Film Festival, Seattle International Film Festival, and I would also highlight Ann Arbor Film Festival, which focuses a little bit more on experimental. Those are all within our network, but I think if you look for them within your region, as has been mentioned before, you'll likely find something. And then, yeah, just investigating, asking questions and making sure it's a good fit.
Mhm. I will mention another festival that I worked for and been on a jury for, Tasveer Film Festival. It's a Seattle-based film festival. It's Tasveer, so it's Tasveer. And I mentioned that even because it's a festival that champions South Asian filmmakers. So their mission statement is to put forward amazing South Asian stories. Festivals like that really also support filmmakers in a whole different way. So if you are somebody who identifies with one particular identity, ethnic group, find festivals that really cater to the audiences, because it serves two purpose. A, you are more likely to, be chosen and celebrated by them because you are telling the story that they're looking for, that they want to celebrate. And then B, you are going to connect with the audiences that, specifically is looking for those stories. So you're already starting to build your audiences. So when your next project comes out, they're looking for you. They're looking for your name. They're looking for your next project. Melissa was mentioning the horror festival. So, when you go to a horror festival, that most of the audiences, they're horror fans. So, they loved your movie. They're going to look for your next film. So, but don't undermine the value of festivals that champion one particular kind of voice. We have one more minute. Any last thoughts, any last tips from the panel? Jared?
Yeah, really, really quick too, just on the festival side, just want to speak to some animation festivals. Maltadalt is wonderful in Chicago. Ottawa International Film Festival, Pictoplasma in Germany, Anabar in Kosovo. Also a lot of these places they're free. I think that's Annecy is also. I mean, I think for animation they really try to make a lot of these festivals free. Really want to shout out Hellovision, which is like a global animation initiative that actually does 2 global screenings every year in which they do like a call to action for you to like make a new short. And yeah, I guess just to kind of shift into like one, I think last piece of advice on my end, just as someone who programs festivals, specifically programs a block at festival block, which I feel like for most blocks at festivals are pretty similar. Make your film short. Like, I mean, yes, make your film short. I say this as somebody who made way too long a feature film as my first feature film. I mean, programming is hard. Your 17-minute short is probably great, but there are probably ways to get it down to 12 or 15 minutes. There are probably ways to get your 10-minute short down to like 7. I mean, you have to kill your darlings in this industry. You have to kill your darlings in this field. Like, also think of the fact that like maybe you're sacrificing moments you really like or dialogue you really like or scenes you really like, but you actually might be costing yourself a place in the festival. So find an editor who's not you. Find people
and let them cut it short. Jared, somebody's asking you to type the names of the festivals you mentioned. Melissa, last thoughts.
I'll bounce off one thing Jared was saying earlier, a thought that I had of, and I can't remember exactly what we're talking about, film festivals and like wanting to get into bigger film festivals and just watching what other people are doing. One thing that I do with like when you want to get into the bigger festivals like the South by Southwest and the Tribeca and the Sundance and the bigger ones, looking at those filmmakers that have gotten there, but going backwards and seeing where did they start? Like what were their films before they made that film that went to South by or went to Sundance? Where did those films go? What did they do with those? Like what was there? Like find the filmmaker that is on the trajectory that you want to be on in your genre, in your like get as specific as possible and go backwards from like follow them backwards. Where did they start and how did they get to where they are now?
Such an amazing tip. Not just only research film festivals, but also research your favorite filmmakers and, go backwards and what are the festivals that champion them. What a good tip. Great.
Excellent tip, Melissa. Couldn't have said it better myself. I want to say 2 things. One, don't let a rejection from Sundance define you. It's just not something you should, just don't, do what Melissa said. Work backwards, think about your why, and keep trying. And then my second thing is just do things like you're doing now, being at panels like this and showing up for education that is informative and telling you about the industry and what to do is so immensely valuable, and just taking advantage of these resources is a great first step to making those connections and gaining access to festivals.
So true. I'll wrap it up. So festivals are awesome. They are very relevant. They provide you so much more than just that big screening with the audiences, which is like incredible experience that I want for all the filmmakers, including everybody on this panel. Plan ahead, make sure you start early thinking about film festivals, not once your film is done. Budget, because it gets expensive because you have to pay for entries. Think about the length of your film, as Jared said. What an amazing tip. I'm glad that we covered that because, as a programmer, when it's a very, very long film and it was not necessarily the standout, those are 30 minutes of my life that I will not get back. I'm definitely not giving you 10 out of 10 on my rating. So, think about the length of your film. And then when you get into the festival, make sure you maximize. You really go, you put yourself out there, you connect with people, leave a good impression on the programmers, and then hope for, another amazing opportunity in the same vein. And find the festivals which are right for your film. As Grace said, that they don't hate you. Sundance is not saying no because they didn't like your film. There are many reasons. When you get a rejection, it's maybe because it didn't fit in the program. Maybe they had another film on the same themes, very similar subject matter. So it's, your film can get rejected for so many good reasons, and should not be disheartened at all. So target the festivals which feel right for where you are, your skill level, your production value. People who are championing your voice and the kind of film that you're making will always take you far. And look at, all these incredible festivals in your neighborhoods, in your cities, which are ready to welcome you. So thank you all for thank you, all of us. Thank you so much. Gray, Melissa, Jared. I'm Nidin once again, and everybody who spared their Saturday morning with us learning about festivals. I hope you gained something really meaningful out of our time together. So enjoy the rest of the summit. There is a lot happening throughout the day. So, this is just the beginning of Incredible BRIC Summit. So go attend everything. Thank you all.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.